Hello, I'm Emma from Old Town Hypnotherapy, and today's subject is 3 things that people with anxiety do wrong. The first one of those is negatively forecast the future. People with anxiety use their imagination to imagine all the things that could possibly go wrong. All the things that could possibly happen as a consequence of something. And they will do this consistently. And what is happening is your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you look into tomorrow or next week or the future, and you start to imagine all the things that could go wrong with that, and going over and over and over it in your mind, imagining all the negatives, your brain or you believe your imagination. You forget that it's your imagination that's doing that, and your brain interprets it as real. And what's more, it interprets it as some sort of crisis, emergency, or danger. It doesn't know the difference between going to see a teacher at a school of one of your children and a saber-toothed tiger hiding around the corner. It just knows the feelings you're creating by worrying about it. And that's what we convert into anxiety, and we store it up. And we store it in our stress bucket, what we call the stress bucket. And it piles up and it piles up and it piles up, and sometimes it overloads. That's when we start having panic attacks. And when that happens, we move from an intellectual part of our brain where we do rational thinking to the primitive part of our brain, which then encourages us to focus even more on everything that could go wrong. And of course, we get into a vicious cycle. And we start piling even more into our stress bucket, and so it goes on and on and on. So the first thing to understand and realise that actually it isn't normal to worry. I'm not saying that you're abnormal, but not everybody worries is what I'm trying to say. That it is something that you do, and you need to learn how not to do, because it's not necessary. You know as well as I do that worrying about something, whether it might or might not happen, is not going to change the situation, make it any better, stop whatever it is, what you're worrying about happening. And it is not going to solve the problems either. Focusing on the problem is not going to solve it. You need a different type of thinking. You need to think from this intellectual brain and not the primitive brain into coming up with solutions. But when you are worrying about something and negatively forecasting the future, then you're operating from this other part of the brain. And that's what we help you switch. Then the second thing that people with anxiety do, which people without don't, is they try and find the cause of the problem, the cause of their anxiety. Again, it's not necessary. Finding causes, reasons for your anxiety actually just makes you focus on them even more. And it's doing exactly the same thing as I just explained in the first one about negatively forecasting the future, using your imagination to negatively forecast the future. What it's doing is when you are focusing on trying to find the problem, trying to find the reasons why, then you are focusing on the negative. And that's what we convert into anxiety. It piles up and it piles up and it piles up and it overflows and gets you into this part of the brain that's not helpful for you. So the second thing that people with anxiety do wrong is trying to find the cause of their anxiety. The cause of your anxiety is your own thinking, it's your own worrying about things, and it's your own negative thinking. So that's what we need to learn how to get away from. And then the third thing that people with anxiety do wrong is they overthink. It's a bit of a mess. People will say, we'll try and evaluate the intellectual level of people with anxiety, depression, or any sort of mental health issue. Actually, it's people at the higher end of the scale, people who have good cognitive ability that tend to end up with these things. And one of the things that they do is overthink. They overanalyze situations. They use their imagination to try and imagine what other people are thinking or how they're being perceived or what other people are doing. So it's using their imagination in a negative way. And overthinking, overanalyzing a situation. It's really not necessary. It takes a different type of thinking, a different part of the brain to come up with solutions than it does to worry about things. And the overthinking is not helpful because it's doing exactly the same thing again. The overthinking tends to come from a negative point of view, or it turns negative, and it piles up and it piles up and it piles up, and it overflows. And then it can manifest in panic attacks, in physical problems and physical ailments. People with anxiety get ill more because it's coming out physically. Especially people who worry about other people a lot. They will internalize their problems and that will come out physically. It can come out in habits like OCD or unwanted obsessive thinking. It can come out in anger. It can come out in eating disorders, self-harm. And it's all to do with the negative forecasting, the overthinking, and the trying to find reasons for the anxiety in the past or what's happened or why. Searching for the why doesn't give you a solution. Searching for the solution will give you a solution, and it takes a different type of thinking to do that. And that's what we help you do with. That's what we help you do with hypnotherapy. Now, there are a number of ways you can go if you just want to check in with my vlogs or my blogs. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you will automatically get updates when I'm talking about something to do with anxiety, depression, or some disorder that we see a lot in clinic. Or if you are near one of our branches, you can arrange a free initial consultation. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation to continue. It takes about 45 minutes, but it will help us understand you so we can properly advise you and explain how hypnotherapy is going to help you, how long it's going to take, and all those sort of things. Or if you're not near one of those branches and you want to do something active starting today to start turning these things around, understanding how to change the way you're thinking so you're not worrying and not creating anxiety in your life, then you can sign up for our 6-week intensive course. And that takes you through a structured program similar to going to sessions, but you need to be able to do it on your own. And you can go through that course. You'll get lots of support and free hypnotherapy MP3 downloads, and you can find out more about that by clicking the link below, and it'll take you to a link where it tells you about that. So that's it. So those 3 reasons why that if you've got anxiety, the 3 things you do that other people don't that don't have anxiety is that overthinking, looking for reasons why, and negatively forecast the future. We can teach you how to stop doing that. So as always, I am here. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me. My name is Emma, and I will hopefully be in contact.